Happy Tuesday. Good morning, brothers. Hope everybody's doing all right. What I want to do today in this episode is introduce myself a little bit, let you know a little bit about me. First of all, my name is PiDi ICE. You know, it's like PiDi, P-E-D-Y, like the dog from the Rascal, but it's PiDi. That's my hip hop name from back in '86. You know what I mean? So the reason why I think I know something about women is because I was raised by a single mother. Not like that is something far-fetched or not common nowadays, but it wasn't really common back in 1973. You know, my mother's mom was actually divorced from my grandfather, even though they lived in a duplex and he lived next door, so he was still around, but she was technically a single mother. You know, and my mother was the oldest of 3 girls. So it was my mother and my 2 aunts. So I grew up in a house with 4 women and a grandfather next door. Damn! You know, so I learned a lot about women just by observing, because I couldn't say anything. You know, and I lived there with my mom until I was about she had a couple of roommates, and we lived with a couple of her homegirls and some cousins and everything up until I was 6, when we got our own apartment, and then it was just me and my mother. So that's one little piece of indoctrination as to why I think I know so much about women, because from birth to 6 years old, I was around nothing but women. Now granted, my father was in my life. I would see him on weekends and every Wednesday, and he did coach my t-ball, you know, he Little League and everything. So, you know, that was well, but he passed away when I was 7 years old. So, you know, I had more of a female influence. Not really an influence, but just a random observation of women and their behavior. But I didn't know that I was doing that at the time. I was just trying to figure out why nothing went right and why I didn't fit anywhere, and how come my friends could do things that I couldn't do, you know, because their fathers were there to say, hey, you can do that, that's cool, you know. So you know, I had uncles and older cousins and, you know, people, men in the neighborhood that looked out for me because they knew my father and everything. And so they was like, you know, come here, Pete, you know, taking me under their wing and making sure I wouldn't get into trouble, making sure, you know what I'm saying, if they see me hanging with the homies and they was acting wild, and, you know, because we grew up in a small, tight-knit community and everybody pretty much knew each other. But so the second thing was when I was in high school. You know, when I was in high school, I was kind of popular, you know. I played football, I ran track, and I wrestled. But my senior year, I did something a little bit different. My senior year, during basketball season, I was a cheerleader. Yes, I was a male cheerleader. And I spent 3 hours a day with high school girls. Oh, yeah. It was quite an education. I was a male cheerleader for my senior year in high school. And so, that's my second piece of my indoctrination, or my education on women. And, you know, then I was married, you know, and all that, and so all those lessons. So then, in between time, you know, I learned about all the little cliche colloquialisms about marriage and everything as I was experiencing them, you know. But I was like, you know, nothing was, you know, we didn't really talk about anything as far as, you know, my disappointment, because, you know, other men were acting like it was all good, like, you know, I'll just be a man, you can handle it, if it was even out like that, or a deal of, you know, we didn't talk about it, you know what I'm saying? Cats just acted like, you know, their situation was the bomb, and so I didn't want to act like my situation wasn't the bomb, until it wasn't. And so, anyway, fast forward, for the past 12 years, I've been working at an all-women's college. And we're talking about hundreds of women. You know, I used to tell people, I please hundreds of women every day, you know. But, and we interact with them, they work with us, you know what I'm saying? And You know, I talk to them about their classes and a lot of the things. That's why, you know, at my age, I know a lot about a lot of the jargon, the social justice warrior jargon, the LGBTQIA jargon. They added some extra initials. You know what I'm saying? The whole self-positivity, body positivity, all that other stuff. You know, I'm like at ground zero of that. And you know, so it's very interesting to when I came into the manosphere after my second divorce, and I was just wondering, like, what the fuck? Like, how do I score a chick? You know what I'm saying? You know, I learned all these things. I saw these things. You know, these phrases were being said and used, and I was like, wow, I know what this is. So what I gathered quickly was that the manosphere was almost the polar opposite of feminism, and I just needed to find out where I fit. At the time, I was looking at the PUAs. You know, I had just read The Game by Neil Strauss, and I was thinking about looking at some other things, but the thing about The Game is I already had the game. Getting pussy was never a problem. My problem was keeping the women. You know what I'm saying? And granted, you get lazy, and they say that the things you got to do to get them are the things you got to do to keep them. And I guess the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. After I got them, I saw that it wasn't really worth the extra effort. So, like most men, I just did what I had to do to survive. So I got to pay rent so I can eat. You're here, you're going to eat too. You know, and that disappoints them. And that's fine, that's cool, they got their thing, but, you know, I mean, why is it my job to please you when you have the option to please me or not? So anyway, I know a little bit about it. You know what I'm saying? Got some experience. I saw boyfriends, you know, before I even knew that I was gonna be a boyfriend. You know, like I saw my mother's boyfriends, my auntie's boyfriends, you know, and how they acted and conducted themselves, and how they would act when they weren't there, when the boyfriends weren't there, and things of that nature. You know, and it was quite amazing, because when I got older and I started seeing women act the same way, it kind of made me lose respect for the older women, because I'm like, wow, you're just like the dumb girls I don't talk to. You know, except for the fact that, you know, what it was, you know, of course, with my aunties and all that, I mean, they weren't attracted to me, so they were trying to impress me in that way. I was like the little nephew, like, boy, get out of here, you know. So it was just something quite interesting that I learned and picked up and put together. And so when I came to the manosphere, you know, and all the information from the PUAs and the MRAs and the MGTOWs and everything, it just fell into place. It made everything solidify. It became crystal clear, you know. And so here I am making videos now. But just trying to express myself, man, and, you know, because everybody in the manosphere isn't exactly the same. You know, it's the issue of we're all going our own way, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to do is just get the like-minded brothers that see it more towards my perspective, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm doing is giving my perspective. So if you feel the same way I do, man, subscribe. You got a couple homeboys, you know what I'm saying, that can vibe to this, you know. Put their code, let them know, you know what I'm saying? Let them know about PiDi ICE, you know. And, you know, again, you know, comment, subscribe, you know, like, let me know what's going on. Let me know if you had similar experiences, if you understand where I'm coming from. Because the thing about when you talk about women, they always act like you don't know because, you know, you're not a woman. You know, and I understand that to an extent, but at the same time, there's a lot of parts of womanhood that women don't know because of the stage of life they're in. For instance, I know more about childbirth than any 20-something. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a father of 4. I've seen birth. I've been with a woman for 9 months through labor. You know, the whole, you know what I'm saying, carrying the child for 9 months. Like, I was there. You see what I'm saying? So there's an aspect of womanhood that I know that they do not. I experienced it, not firsthand, secondhand, but I was there. I didn't get a chance to walk away. You know what I'm saying? But I digress. You know, there are other things too that women just don't know about. They just don't know. They think they do, but the vagina doesn't tie them in until they actually experience it. And until they experience it, I have more experience. You know, just by being a father, just by being there, you know. So anyway, that's my little video today. I'm trying to keep it under 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I hope it touches somebody, you know what I'm saying, inspires somebody, make somebody want to give me a pound or a high five, you know. But until then, Brother, stay up, man. Red pill out. You know what I'm saying? Live up. Peace.